Hi, welcome to Tarot Mandala. Here we use the art of creating mandalas, the meditative art of creating mandalas, to deepen our understanding of a particular tarot card. Tarot is a wonderful tool, not just of divination, but a tool of self exploration. So, if you're not too familiar with tarot, I think a really important um, foundational understanding is that the tarot is really about life. It's about the fool's journey as told through the major arcana of the tarot, which is a symbolic map of the human experience, spiritual growth, and the soul's evolution, right? And that's why we're here. We're here to grow, to have experiences, to evolve. So the major arcana contains cards from the Fool, number 0, to the World, number 21. And these are like the large, the big energies that are present in everyone's life, right? So the Fool's Journey, told through the major arcana, gives us the broad archetypal map of spiritual evolution, right? The big story of life. But the minor arcana reveals how those big lessons play out in the day-to-day experiences of being human. Okay. So how they fit together really is, again, the major arcana represents major life themes, turning points, transformations, the soul lessons that shape your identity and destiny. So you can kind of think of them as like chapters of your life story. The minor arcana represents how you live those lessons in your daily life through thoughts, emotions, actions, and material realities. Okay, so today we are looking at the Three of Pentacles, and so we're gonna get into what is the Three of Pentacles really. you know, yeah. So the Three of Pentacles is really the architect of purpose. Okay, so the key words that are associated with the Three of Pentacles card is collaboration, skill, mastery, teamwork, planning, craftsmanship. And so as I was doing this mandala, some of the things that were really wanting to be known were, one, like when you begin something, like it's really important to have a plan, like really create a plan, because that's going to really help you navigate the process more easily. Three of Pentacles also, as I was creating the mandala, was really giving like magician vibes. So the magician, he has all the tools that he needs, right? So it really, the magician really says, like, you have the tools you need, go for it, right? But also the message that was coming through as I was, creating this mandala was sharpen your saw. So I'm sure y'all know the story of, sharpening your saw, right? Like it's going to take you twice as long, if not more, to try and cut a tree down with a dull saw. But if you just stop and take the time to go and sharpen your saw and then come back to the tree and start to cut it down, then you'll get through it much quicker. And that can be a challenge sometimes, because it seems like, oh no, we're already in the process of doing something, I don't want to stop and go and do something else. But when it comes to being prepared with your tools, it's not just good enough to have the tools, it's to make sure that they're the right tools and that they're in the right condition to use. And the other message that I was getting was, take the time to do it right. When you are, venturing out into you know, into this like archetype of the architect of purpose, like, don't rush it. Do it right. As I was drawing through this mandala, I was like, I don't know, I was a little bit anxious, and I kept having to tell myself to slow down a little bit because I kept making mistakes as I was trying to move through creating this mandala too quickly, which really even defeats the purpose of the mandala. But, actually, if you look at it, like, that was the message really that I needed to hear. I needed to hear, when you take on something, do it with purpose, do it right. Take the time to do it right. The other message that I got through creating the mandala was that the details, like the details are really the things that make it, beautiful, make it pretty. However, if you get stuck in the details, then you really are also not moving forward. You're not having any movement forward. If you're getting stuck in all of the little details, you're not moving towards the big picture of something. So it's really important to find the balance in both of that, right? So the details, make it really beautiful, but you also don't want to get stuck in the details because then you kind of like, halt the movement forward. Okay. So again, keywords: collaboration, skill, mastery, teamwork, planning, craftsmanship. So the interpretation of the card is really that on the Fool's journey, the Three of Pentacles represents the first moment where vision begins to take a tangible form. It is like that energy of moving something from the ethers down into reality, right? Moving it down to take its tangible form. So after the raw potential of the Ace and the focused effort of the Two, the Fool learns the value of collaboration. That's the number 3. That building something meaningful requires cooperation, shared purpose, mutual respect. So this Three of Pentacles cards speaks to the sacred geometry of creation. When ideas, skills, and efforts align harmoniously, something greater than any individual effort is born, right? The 1 plus the 2 create something new, the 3. It's a lesson in honoring each person's unique role in the structure of life. No man is an island. So in readings, the Three of Pentacles can often point to planning, teamwork, mentorship, refining one's craft. The energy here is one of grounded manifestation. It's laying the foundation for future success. So in the Three of Pentacles, it is a minor arcana. So it is more of the minor energies that make up the Fool's journey, right? It's the energies that focus on the practical everyday efforts and growth rather than on the major life shifts. So it is the suit of Pentacles, and Pentacles represents Earth in the tarot. And Pentacles govern the physical realm: work, material stability, long-term achievements. It is the number 3, and the number 3 is the number of creation and expansion. Love the number 3. It's the synthesis of duality into form. A structure is now emerging. The element is earth, and earth symbolizes grounding, stability, and the tangible results of steady effort. The planet association is Mars, and Mars represents drive, motivation, and the energy to take action on one's plans. And the associated zodiac sign is Capricorn, and Capricorn reflects the energy of discipline, ambition, long-term vision. He is the builder of the zodiac. The symbols in the card, we have the architect, the monk, and the stonemason. So they symbolize collaboration between spirit, which is the monk, design, which is the architect, and labor, which is the mason. So mind, spirit, and body co-creating. There are also the colors in the card, which are gray, brown, gold. And these earth tones symbolize practicality, wisdom, endurance. Gold hints at divine purpose, through work. So just to recap, the keywords again are collaboration, which collaboration is uniting diverse talents toward a shared goal. There's skill, which is applying refined abilities and knowledge to one's craft. Mastery, reaching a higher level of competence through dedication, through perseverance. Teamwork is a key word, and teamwork is really recognizing the value in others' contributions. It is, again, like teamwork really does exemplify that number 3 of putting things together that like the whole is greater than the parts, right? The sum of the whole is the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So recognizing the value in others' contributions. Another key word, again, is planning, creating blueprints that ensure lasting results. And craftsmanship, infusing quality, pride, and purpose into your work. So let's talk a little bit about like the embodiment and archetype expression. So the Three of Pentacles as personality traits, would really represent someone who is cooperative, disciplined, dependable, detail-oriented, humble, practical. But there is also a shadow expression of every tarot card, right? And because the energy of any card in the tarot has both a light and shadow expression, right? It exists on a spectrum, basically, in the same way that temperature, right? Temperature is both hot and cold. It's a spectrum, right? So same thing for the energy of the cards in the tarot, of the archetypes or the energies in the tarot. It's a spectrum. So the shadow personality expression of the Three of Pentacles would be like someone who is perfectionistic, or overly critical, micromanaging, dismissive of others' input, or even like feeling undervalued in this process. So the aligned actions, collaborate with those who share your vision, right? If you want to align with the energy of the Three of Pentacles, the actions to take is to collaborate with those who share your vision. Each person, brings something essential to the table. And so, really like use that, and invest the time in planning and organization before taking action. Like really make sure that you are, setting that solid foundation, right? So before you even really start building, you have a plan. You have an idea of which way you're going to move. You still need to be flexible when you are enacting that plan, right? But at least you have a plan that is guiding you on your way. Another aligned action would be to seek mentorship or feedback in order to refine your skills. And then another aligned action is to honor both your craftsmanship and the contribution of others, right? Okay, now a shadow integration of these aligned actions would be, so an example would be if you're working alone out of pride or fear of criticism, that would be, like the shadow of the energy. And so instead, invite collaboration. Yeah. Work through those fears of criticism, or, work through that unnecessary pride, and instead invite, feedback, invite collaboration. Another shadow integration would be like if you're feeling overlooked, remember that your worth doesn't diminish by sharing credit. Yeah. So it doesn't make you any less of a contributor or anything, like that, if you, capitalize on that collaboration, or maybe capitalize is not the word, but if you, really are able to use that collaboration. And then lastly, like really just like being able to release control and allowing that synergy, that synergetic energy of the card to guide the process. Okay, so I kind of also want to go back to a little bit more of the symbolism of the card. For example, like let's look more closely at what the bench in the card means. So the bench in the card, in the Three of Pentacles, is a subtle but powerful symbol. It represents the foundation of skill, craftsmanship, and spiritual service. So the bench is where the sculptor works. It's a symbol of stability, of support. It reminds us that mastery is built on a steady base of learning, discipline, and repetition. The workbench is where ideas take physical form, turning inspiration into reality. The sculptor kneels before the bench, and it suggests humility before the craft, and it shows that true mastery requires patience, focus, respect for the process. That spiritual growth, like art, is created one deliberate step at a time. So in readings, the bench would remind us to honor the process of creation as much as the result. It asks you, are you building your goals on a strong foundation? Are you approaching your work with patience, with humility, with care? So ultimately, the bench is the altar of the craftsman. It is the symbol that elevates everyday effort into sacred service. It's a quiet reminder that devotion to our work, whether spiritual, creative, or practical, is itself an act of reverence. All right. So also in the Three of Pentacles is the symbol of the rose. And rose in the tarot often, signifies beauty, growth, refinement. And in the Three of Pentacles, it's like that beauty, growth, and refinement emerging through the discipline and the collaboration. So beauty and effort. The rose reminds us that true mastery and skill produce something beautiful, that it symbolizes the fruit of dedicated work or art or craft or accomplishment that reflects both the effort and the inspiration. Roses are also associated with spiritual awakening and the unfolding of consciousness. So, and oftentimes these projects that we take on can be very much a tool of spiritual awakening. So in the Three of Pentacles, the rose suggests that the disciplined work, collaboration, and skillful practice really nurture inner growth and wisdom. The colors, I know we didn't really go too much detail about the colors in the card. But for example, there's some red in the card, and the red really represents or symbolizes passion, energy, vitality. It is the spark that motivates action, which is the life force behind the dedication and the teamwork. The black represents potential. It represents mystery and the unknown. The shadows in the cathedral suggest that there's parts of the creation that we can't fully see yet, and so there's some faith involved in that, as far as it all coming together, and the future results of our labor, or the deeper lessons of collaboration and growth, are still unknown in the process of this building. The The gray represents neutrality, wisdom, experience. It's the color of stone and patience. And it reminds us that mastery is earned over time and through repeated effort. The yellow or the gold represents divine inspiration, intellect, illumination. The sunlight or golden highlights in the card remind us that skillful work is guided not just by hands, but by clarity of mind and higher purpose. So really, like, a lot of the symbols that are in each card, the colors, the symbols, when you see those same things in other cards, they mean the same thing. So learning the symbols or the symbolism in the tarot cards is hugely helpful for gaining like deeper understanding of a particular card. And it it translates onto other cards as well, right? So when we are reading tarot, there's so much more depth of meaning to each card than just memorizing the keywords. However, also, if you are an intuitive reader, like, I really do believe like intuition is a combination of a whole bunch of things. It's not just getting some psychic hit. It's also using all of your knowledge and all of your experience, as well as receiving messages from higher realms or the higher self, and putting all of those things together in order to have receive like this understanding or this message that wants to be known. So intuition is greatly enhanced by skills and knowledge and experience and introspection and all of those things, right? And it is a practice. It's not something that it is something that we all have, but it's something that we really need to invest in order to enhance, in order for it to be stronger. So, for example, if there's someone who is really not paying attention to their intuition, not giving it the time of day, not understanding how their own experience and knowledge and skill falls into all of that, then it's kind of like it's something that gets faded into the background, right? Okay, so that was the Three of Pentacles. And just again, I just really want to emphasize how creating a mandala, right, which is a practice of meditation, really allows you to sink deeper into the energy of a card. And again, understanding these energies, right, as it relates to the fool's journey, the human experience, really helps you to understand life in a more meaningful way, and if the the purpose is to grow and evolve and learn, it's tarot can really help you do that through really understanding the journey, the process, the energetic archetypes that tarot offers. Okay, let me know what you think, and let me know your ideas about intuition. I don't believe there's any one idea that is right.